Hi everyone, hope you're all doing well, and today I'm going to talk about Meet Kevin and why Meet Kevin made a really bad decision selling all of his stocks last week. So I'll go through a few of these reasons why, and hopefully it's helpful, and I want to kind of give this other side of the actions that he did that will hopefully counteract some of the points that he made, and hopefully, in my opinion, save people from making a really bad decision. Now, I've got to say this here, that I believe Meet Kevin made a video or decided to sell his stocks not because he was doing it maliciously. I don't think he was doing it for financial gain or anything like that. I generally think he came up with this decision. He believes this decision will work out for him and is a very good decision. And like I said, I don't believe he is doing it for personal gain, which is something to say out there. You know, this isn't a situation where we have kind of like a Jack Spencer pump and dump going on. You know, that obviously was a person who managed to get to a decent following on the YouTube scene, and then decided to use that following that he managed to gain very quickly for personal gain, maybe inexperience, maybe making wrong decisions, but definitely for more financial gain, and using those subscribers to promote terrible companies and them terrible companies to get associated with them, doing interviews with them. That is more from someone that, you know, didn't really have you know, too much following, and then I think maybe the financial side of it started getting to him, and he made decisions that would benefit him rather than trying to help people on the YouTube scene, which originally the YouTube scene was really good for that. You know, even if you didn't agree with their decisions, or they were making videos on subjects that you didn't agree with, they were supporting that with things that they generally thought would happen, which has sort of changed in the YouTube scene in the last 2 years. It's kind of gone to more that you have to be very careful out there, because it is people out there making videos, talk about things for personal gain, rather than generally kind of expressing their opinion, and more interested in, you know, building actual wealth through a lot of these investments. And with Meet Kevin, like I said, I don't think this is something where he's decided he's doing this decision for a financial gain or a personal gain. He generally thinks he's making the best decision out there, and I don't feel like he should be called out for them reasons, but generally I feel like the decision he is making is the wrong decision. And the reason why I think he came to this decision here is because, first of all, you know, this Meet Kevin has successfully built a lot of wealth, and I think maybe that because he has built so much wealth, maybe because he's seen what we've had in the last few weeks, months, where we've had a stock market that's tanked, and he's seen how quickly that wealth's gone down. I mean, for me personally, I don't have as much money in the stock market as what Meet Kevin has, or not even close to what money he has in the stock market. You know, he has 20 million, and I think maybe that, I don't know what that's like, but potentially seeing that you've got 20 million in the stock market, and you're seeing that go down and down, and you're seeing, you know, millions going down within a couple of weeks, I can only imagine that generally puts a lot of pressure on that situation. I think as well that generally Meet Kevin has not been in the stock market for a long amount of time, so I think that this is maybe one of his main experiences as being a content creator and being a stock market investor, and dealing with that emotion of going down. You know, everyone in the stock market is a genius when we have a bull market, but when you see a stock market go down, that is where it does test you. Those are the times where you start seeing your account going down day after day, and you know, everyone says, oh, you know, when the stock market goes down, you know what I'll do? I'll buy the dip. And generally this is what Meet Kevin said on a lot of his videos as well, is generally when the stock market will go down, all I'll do is buy the dip. But when that actually happens, you actually see who follows through with them sort of things they say. And I think the pressure of having such a high account, having the YouTube scene, and, you know, I know personally from the YouTube scene, you know, the amount of people that come for you when the stock market's going down, and I can only imagine someone like Meet Kevin that has, you know, millions of people that watch his videos every week, and I'm sure in them millions of people, there's a good 10-20% in the last kind of few weeks that have basically been, you know, pushing a lot of negative comments towards him, combined with your account going down, and that personally for him, you know, before that he was more focused on real estate, and now he's more focused on the stock market. That's a total different amount of pressure. And I think as well with that is that Meet Kevin also used a lot of margin, and I think with the margin as well, that extra pressure of margin, which I've always said, you know, you never want to kind of be using margin, that gives you an extra kind of pressure. It was only, I think about 2 months ago, someone on my Discord came to me and said, oh, you know, the stock market's down so much, I can get this loan for such a cheap rate. Is this a really good decision to take this loan out and buy all this dip, and within a year's time I'll be able to pay the loan back? And I was like, no, don't do that. It will create an extra amount of pressure on you, and when you have that extra pressure, you start making wrong decisions, because in the back of your head, you know, I've got that person that I owe money to, and it's not what you want to be doing. And I think the one big thing that is really going to damage Meet Kevin is his reputation. You know, for a guy that has been, and I don't watch him all the time, to be honest with you, but I know that previously he has been, you know, coming out and saying, oh, you know, if stocks go down, all I'm going to do is buy the dip and I'll make more money.
And to me, this is a signal of the freaking bottom. This is a signal of the bottom. Be careful with margin, but I am bullish on this market. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not effing leaving.
Where he just sells everything overnight is a massive change here. And without doubt, there's nothing fundamentally that has changed with those companies that he's invested in overnight for him to kind of completely sell out of that. That's the big thing. And I think as well is that when you have that reputation, like if you are, Meet Kevin is probably arguably the biggest YouTuber out there. When you have that reputation, and for someone that has always been there on, you know, the bad days, going keep buying, and then overnight to sell all them stocks out there, it kind of goes against what you've been doing for the last kind of, you know, how many years. And that's the big damage to Meet Kevin's reputation right now, is that he's gone from a total U-turn, and the U-turn wasn't really supported by anything. It was an overnight decision of going, you know, I'm buying so-and-so to I'm selling out of stocks. And I think that has just really annoyed a few people. So when it comes to the actual negativity out there now, he's probably going to get that for a little bit, because it is a big, massive U-turn in the reputation. And I think that there is that responsibility when you are, you know, I think Meet Kevin is arguably the biggest stock market YouTuber out there. When you have that following, that reputation, you've got to be careful of that. You know, I know that Meet Kevin has previously come out and said that, oh, this is just, you know, my big bet and it's a bit of a gamble, but you shouldn't do that. As a big YouTuber with a reputation, you know, people will follow your decisions. I know it's stupid and people shouldn't do that. People should not listen to YouTubers and follow YouTubers. But imagine the amount of people that he's going to influence from now that think, oh, you know what, I can now sell all my stocks and try time the market. And that's the big problem, is that when you have that reputation, you've got to realize how many people that will affect. People that are new to the market, people that are listening to every word that you say. You've got to make decisions that also will help your following as well. You know, there's every decision that I make going forward on the YouTube scene, I have to think about everything that I do massively, because I don't only have an impact on my own portfolio, but I know that's going to probably impact a lot of people that follow me on the YouTube scene, and I know that's going to affect people that follow me on the Patreon scene. It shouldn't really, but it does, and I always take that into consideration, and that's something that he should have taken into consideration as well, is that effect that he will have on a lot of following. And I think the big thing that has frustrated people, like I said earlier, is to claim to be a long-term investor and then to just take a short-term bet and trying to time the market. So if you don't know, what has happened is that Meet Kevin decided he was happily buying the stock, saying buy the dip, and then instantly he sold out of all of his positions. And his claim is that he believes the stock market will go lower. Now, what has confused me since that time is that he has then started to buy some more stocks into his stock market portfolio. A good chunk, I think at one point he said maybe 50% of his portfolio. And then he decided, I believe, I've been told, I don't know if it's official, I believe that since he started buying them up again, he has sold out. So he's gone from, oh, I'm going to sell out all my stocks to, I'm going to try wait for it to go lower to then start buying them, and now he's sold out of them all again. And this is meaning there's going to be massive amounts of losses taken. You know, this is the big thing. He's taking a lot of losses here, and he's trying to time the market. He's gambling on a lot of these stocks, are betting on a lot of these stocks to go you know, a lot lower. Now, don't get me wrong, it could still turn out to be massively right. You know, if the stock market does fall off the cliff in the next kind of couple of months, he will look an absolute genius. But you've got to realise the chances of that happening is very risky. You know, there's no one when you listen to the most successful investors in the stock market, there's not a single one that says, oh, during this crash and this crash, I tried timing it and I got it right. It doesn't happen. No one has successfully timed the market over a long period of time. There might be 1 or 2 times you get right, but over the course of a long period of time, you will not do well trying to time the market, and that's what's happening here. And like I said earlier, for me, when you see this hesitation of trying to get in and out and in and out, which is already starting to happen with Meet Kevin, shows you the problem that you have. Because the problem is if you have, I'm just going to squeeze over here, for example, let's say you try and sell out of the stock market here, you've got to hope it goes all the way down here, and then you have to time out at the right point where it's not going to go any lower, which is impossible because we generally don't know in a week's time, 2 weeks' time, if the stock market's going to go lower. You then have to pray it drops a huge amount because what you've done now is you've sold out over loss. So because you've now sold out of a loss, instead of averaging down on amazing companies and bringing your average down, and then hopefully that if you bought good companies, when we go back in an uptrend, you will get back to break even and make money on them. You've not actually taken a physical loss. Now, because Meet Kevin has taken a physical loss, he's got to pray that these stocks go down a huge amount. And then what he has to do is time it once again absolutely perfect towards near the bottom, and then these stocks go back up. So you have two tricky points here of trying to time the market. You have to sell out at the right time where you're nowhere near the bottom, and then you need to buy hopefully a massive drop down at the bottom and then go back up again. Because what's going to happen now is Meet Kevin has to when he's buying a lot of these stocks now, he has to make sure he gets them low enough that he recovers all these losses, because with the massive drop off here, he's going to have to now go buy all these stocks at good prices, because every time he goes into profit now on these stocks, when he does buy them back, he's got to think, well, my first kind of 50% return on that isn't really a profit because I made a massive loss on it after selling out a while ago. And that's the big thing. So that's the big thing with trying to time the market. You've got 2 points here, and I believe that he also had some companies that were in the green, which also he will have to pay taxes on now. But as well as that, he's got to pray that he gets them good averages again on good companies, and that's another tricky point that you have. And once again, you're praying that it drops. That's the big thing. Timing the market does not work. You might get it right once or twice, but over long term, there's just so many things that need to go right. The best thing to do is buy companies that you like, of great companies, and just average down. And even if you don't get near the bottom, as long as you bring your average down and it's a great company, in 5 years, 10 years, whatever, them share prices will go back to where you were and carry on uptrending. That's a big thing. There'll be stocks in, like 2008 in the Great Recession, or even the CV crash. You buy them pre-CV, as long as you average down in them dips, you'll be up on them, as long as they're great companies. So that's the big thing you want to be doing. And I guess it kind of comes to the point of view, well, why sell? Why try time the market? Why is he kind of making them decisions to try and time the market when it's just so tricky to do? And he's even himself admitted he was, this is a short-term bet, a gamble, and this is the big thing. That's the big difference, to go from a long-term investor to having a short-term bet and a short-term gamble, especially when you have a reputation like that. It's just, for me, is a massive wrong decision. So I guess why did he sell? Well, first of all, I think you've got the key point. You've got a downtrend here. So this is the big. These are the tricky times as an investor. These are the times where you see, like, okay, what have you got as an investor? Can you make it through? And the big thing is, the downtrend are normally the best times to make money in the stock market as well. Now, the problem is that downtrends do affect people. People do get affected emotionally, and what we have right now is that kind of downtrend of seeing your account going down and down more and more. And when you've got a portfolio the size of Meet Kevin and the pressure of the YouTube scene, and it keeps going down and down and down, I'm sure that's affected him. And as well as that, I think he generally hasn't been through that many major dips as a stock market investor. So seeing this starting to happen now, I'm sure that has taken the effects on him of the downtrend. And so many people you'll see that say, oh, if we ever have a dip, of course I'll buy the stocks. And then we actually have the dip, and you see people going hesitant, going, oh, I don't know what to do now. And that's the big thing. You get to see who has the right mindset for a stock market in a downtrend. And I think that's a big thing. I think generally the decision, why he's made such a bad decision over the last few weeks, is because of that downtrend pressure. And I think even now you're seeing it because he sold out of his stocks and now he's buying back in and then he's selling them again. The pressure, he's now put that extra pressure on himself because he has to time the market perfectly. And that's also going to affect him over the next few weeks and months, trying to time the market now. And the extra pressure that he will have is because he has margin. He has money that he doesn't own, and that extra pressure of making them decisions. So he has so much pressure going on now. I generally think he's just kind of come out and made a bad decision. I think the pressure has just got to him, and that's why he's made such a bad decision. And I guess, what does it mean in the long term? Well, I guess it'll mean that obviously, for him personally, obviously I feel like it probably will damage his brand a little bit. I do believe that obviously he will receive a lot of negativity in the YouTube scene because of it going forward. But like I said, I don't think it was a malicious choice. Like, it wasn't malicious. It wasn't anything for his financial gain. I just think he has just made a bad decision, and eventually over a long period of time that will show out, and he will probably be honest about that and say, oh, I made a bit of a mistake there. And that is some bit of the point of the stock market and long-term investing. You will make mistakes in the stock market, and the only way you find out that it was a bad decision or the wrong decision is when you see the other outcome, where you go, oh yeah, I did make a bad decision. I shouldn't have sold that stock. I should have just averaged in. I shouldn't have tried to time the market. So I think that what he will learn as an investor now will help him improve as an investor going forward. That is the big thing. But yeah, overall, I think it will cause probably a few problems for him going forward, but I do feel like he probably will learn from this going forward. And hopefully, because he does have that following and that reputation, and he should have been a little bit more sensible rather than taking a big, coming to a very safe long-term investor who buys the dip to, oh, I'm going to take a better short-term gamble. Hopefully he does, that reputation and the people that follow him had a bit of common sense to go, hold on, everyone says I can't time the market, so why am I going to do it now? And hopefully a few people that do follow him had a bit more of a sensible decision here. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it overall. I think there's a few lessons here to help investors going forward, and I think as well as that, I think Meet Kevin will probably learn from this going forward and maybe make him a better investor as well. So hope you enjoyed the video anyway, guys. If you could hit the like button, that'd be absolutely amazing. If you're new, subscribe, and I'll see you next video.